Welcome to the AI Ireland podcast, your window into the world of AI innovation on the island of Ireland. Join us as we explore how AI is harnessed to tackle both business and societal challenges, revealing the cutting-edge solutions emerging from this vibrant AI community. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates and insights in the world of AI.
Hello everyone, it's Mark Kelly here. I hope you're doing well wherever you are today. As part of the run-up to the AI Awards, I'm very happy to welcome David Moore, Managing Director and Co-founder of Viska Systems. They are finalists for Best Application of AI in SME. David, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you very much for having me on.
David, just tell us a little bit about your journey into Viska Systems. You're the CEO. You obviously got a PhD. It'd be lovely just to hear a little bit about you.
Me personally, yeah. So originally I'm a mechanical engineer from DCU. And after that, I was lucky enough to get a PhD scholarship. And I did a PhD over a number of years while I was also working in industry at the time. And at the time, I suppose between my research and my work, I was working across areas of, image processing, measurement of very small parts, kind of microscope level, and also manufacturing of medical devices using kind of advanced technologies like lasers, things like that. And I suppose all of those together, I suppose about 9 years ago, then we founded Viska. Myself and Enrico founded Viska. And we, I suppose, saw a gap in the market where we saw, okay, we're going to be able to apply more advanced vision technologies in this type of market for manufacturing over the next years. So, of course, there are some big players in there already, but we felt there was a good gap in there we could eventually enter in. So we probably started off initially a little bit more kind of doing more general automation, designing some machines, building some machines for customers, things like that. But over time, we really found our niche in being a vision company that works with robotics in the manufacturing space. And today we work across medical device, food and beverage, semiconductor, automotive. So it's quite diverse in what we do. And I would say at the stage now we have enough vision systems installed in manufacturing that we inspect about €1 billion worth of products annually that are manufactured.
That's incredible. So just to back when you kind of made that jump 9 years ago to be kind of that kind of entrepreneur, was it something you always wanted to do, or was it kind of like a lot of entrepreneurs where you're getting an idea of the problem that you wanted to solve? It was a bit of a scratch and an itch. You felt, actually, I'm gonna go for this. Or if it didn't work out, you'd kind of go and work for a company. Or what was the kind of the mindset behind it?
Yeah, I suppose actually myself and Enrico, so we're a husband-wife team, and we actually just had our first child back then as well. And I don't know, I suppose it made us think a lot about time. And I can definitely speak for myself, saying that it made me think a lot about how I spend my time. And really, I suppose what I kind of wanted to do with my time. And I really decided, you know what? I want to make sure that I use my time to have the most impact I can. And the way I thought I could do that is by kind of steering the direction of a company to do that. When I was younger, like my parents had a kind of business in construction and stuff like that going up. So I kind of understood a little bit about business, I guess. What that looks like to kind of be self-employed. So I was always so inclined, I would say, to do that at some stage.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that, because you kind of steering your own ship, have that kind of guidance. For a lot of people, working with their better half is something that they don't necessarily do. So obviously, nine years in, it's still going well.
Yeah. No, it's quite good actually. I think you probably work. Myself and Enrico are from different backgrounds. Enrico's not an engineer originally, so she's more kind of communications and management and that side of business. I'm still a bit more technical, let's say, and kind of business development strategy, that type of stuff. So we work a lot together, of course, but not in each other's face the whole time, which I would say is key.
I definitely think so. It seems like you got the right balance there. So Viskam aims to solve the accuracy issues in the manufacture of medical devices. Can you share a little bit more details about specific challenges you faced in adapting AI to count microscopic components, and how would that actually differentiate Viskam from other kind of automated solutions? Now you can go high level and then kind of into the granular. You don't need to go too much into the weeds, but it's good just to get a kind of that product and industry focus.
Yeah, sure. So just a little bit about Viskam, I suppose, to start, is that where we went with Viskam, I guess it originates that Viska was originally, I suppose, a service business where we were, using these technologies like AI, maybe with other people's equipment. And I suppose a number of years ago, maybe about 5 years ago, we decided, for scalability reasons, we're actually going to try and pivot the business to be a product business instead. So Viskam is now our second product. Our first was a product called Visible, which is like a robotic inspection tool. And this is now a kind of standalone camera AI powered inspection tool. And where that kind of came around was we could see that, as you well know, the AI landscape is changing extremely rapidly. Every day there's new stuff coming out. And we wanted to have a platform where we could exploit that on the factory floor. And we kind of felt that existing solutions didn't really allow our types of customers to leverage the latest technology on the factory floor. So that's really where that came about. Where I suppose counting came around was that we found that this is a problem for our customers. So in medical device, you would really be surprised how manual a lot of the processes really are for really high-end devices, like things that are implanted in brains or implanted in hearts. Some of these components can be very, very tiny. All these components that are used in minimally invasive surgery, they're very long tubes, for example, very flexible components. And because of these reasons, a lot of it can be quite difficult to automate. And so there's a lot of manual input still. In terms of how processes work, they can also be still quite manual. So to give you an example, if you have tubes, some of these tubes that are used for making these surgical tools are very small. They're about 0.5 millimeter diameter. And when they're making them in a production scenario, they might have thousands of those tubes in a bundle. A handful is thousands. And how they would actually go about counting them when they're manufacturing is they might count out 50 or 100 manually, then weigh that amount. So then you have a bundle of 100, I'm going to weigh that. Then I'm going to divide that number by 100. I'm going to find out how much one weighs, and then I'm going to weigh the whole bundle and get really an estimate of how much is in there. But when you have parts like that, they might vary in length, the material density might vary, the size might vary. And because of that, how accurate can you really be? So we did an analysis on that. We found that for most of our customers weighing those types of parts, they're really getting an inaccuracy of about 5%, up to 5%. Because again, you add in human error and all the other systematic errors, that's where you kind of end up. So what we found was by using vision and our knowledge in vision and some proprietary methods we kind of came up with for training a model to be very good at counting. We were able to make these models that could count up to, say, 3,000 parts plus or minus 1, which gives us an error of 0.03% instead of 5%. And that saves our customers a lot of money, basically.
Yeah, and that's really, really clear in terms of the value that you kind of bring on that. What I build on from the AI and innovation, so you're integrating high-powered GPU technology, and that's supporting the variety of different kind of AI models. How does this flexibility of using both open source and closed models contribute to fast deployment and overall innovation in medical device manufacturing?
Sure, this is a great question, and one of the things I suppose that isn't supported very well with, say, existing technology in the industry are that of open source models. Because what happens is that companies tend to develop their own ecosystem. I have my models that run on my camera only, and that's it. And that's very restrictive, because then you're really handcuffed to how quickly that company develops its own toolkits and its own models, and you can't leverage the latest technology. And this is where open source is absolutely so rapid. You've so many people contributing and coming up with new ideas, new architectures for different types of neural networks and more advanced tools, right? So it's important to be able to leverage the open source to be able to avail of the latest developments. However, what isn't so well done in open source is making it easy to use. So there's a lot of dependencies, and they all have different versions, and only certain versions of some packages work with other things. And that's too complicated for people to use on the factory floor, because it just takes a lot of time to get it working. So what we're trying to do is we're building, let's say, platforms and tools that are kind of predefined. We know what will work for what package, and then we give our customers a way that they can train their own models, or we can help them train their models, and then they can deploy it on camera, and it's kind of flexible in that sense, right? So that's one of the things. The other side, I suppose, of that is that it's also a business, and we might have other people who want to program cameras that have put a lot of time into developing models. So they should be able to protect their models on whatever device they choose to deploy it on as well if they want. And that's why we can kind of support open and closed source. And that's the theory behind it.
Yeah, so just kind of going a little bit more. So if you think about overcoming those development hurdles and optimizing the AI models for hardware, how do you approach these limitations, particularly around managing software dependencies and hardware constraints?
Yeah, so I mean, typically, I suppose when you're looking at running on the edge, the biggest kind of limitation might be how much memory you have available. So what size of models can I run? So there will be certain ones that are going to work better than others. And I think that's one of the limitations, I guess, of running on the edge is that you're going to have a memory limitation. However, for most tasks that, let's say, we work in the machine vision world, and maybe it's a good time to kind of differentiate between what I would call computer vision and machine vision. I would say computer vision is like using vision technologies, but in the real world scenarios where you might have all sorts of different objects and different lighting conditions, etc., etc. In machine vision, we're typically looking for one type of part in a very fixed lighting configuration. So the requirements in machine vision are a little bit different than computer vision, but the requirements in machine vision that the models have to be very accurate. So if you're doing a quality check, it can't be given too many false positives or negatives, causing yield loss, etc. So because of that, let's say we're able to leverage the bits that we know well of AI and how to use them within machine vision to be able to overcome those hurdles and do it that way. And because, let's say, there's less maybe variation, we can get away with running smaller models on edge hardware. And that's basically how we address that.
And when you look at kind of scaling and efficiency now, kind of for the future, Viskam is contributing to reducing waste and optimizing production processes. How important is it from a kind of environmental sustainability to your overall vision? And what steps have you taken to ensure that Viskam aligns with these goals?
Saving the customer rework, waste, etc. That has, obvious environmental benefits directly for the customer. From a product point of view, there are two things I suppose that we offer. One is that we've tried to design it to be recyclable to the best extent we can. So the enclosure, things like that are 100% aluminium, can all be recycled very easily. I would say from an ongoing point of view, and probably the biggest impact is that a lot of solutions that, let's say, are PC based and use GPUs for AI inference at the edge, those PC based systems might run, power supply that's 200-300 watts, for example, at a minimum to run kind of higher end GPUs. And they might use an external camera with the PC, etc. So let's just say it has power consumption of up to 300 watts. We've kind of brought PC functionality a bit more into the camera rather than the camera to the PC, if that makes sense. And by doing so, we're using less than 30 watts for our inference. So basically, you could argue that for a single station, we can save up to 90% in terms of energy consumption. And that's a big deal, obviously, when you add that up over lots of cameras in a factory.
Yeah. And for your application that you're actually doing now, I would have thought that, obviously because you're in the medical device manufacturing market and it's growing rapidly, is there any other industries like electronics, automotive, where precise component handling is crucial? Is this where you kind of see yourself playing out towards?
Yeah, so I suppose we have three main areas that we're targeting, three main application streams, I would say, that we're targeting, right? So one is like counting, and now it could be counting, it could be also defect detection, depending on what type of model that you want to train and do yourself. Counting seems to be one, I guess. It's easy for people to validate because you put 100 parts in front of the camera, it counts 100 or it doesn't, right? So it's easy to check if it works. Sometimes with more subjective defects, it's not so easy for customers to validate that, and you have to be extremely thorough. So that's one application stream, is those types of applications. The next is like label detection and inspection. So being able to pull data off labels in a way that's better than what the existing technology does. Existing technologies don't deal well with font changes or size changes, scale changes, spacing between letters, that type of stuff. So we know lots of those problems of stuff we've deployed, especially for things like food and beverage. If you walked into the shop now and look at 20 different milk cartons, the dates don't look the same in all of them, and that's always a big problem. So we have technology to solve that. So that's the second stream. And the third stream is actually giving people searchable video. So one thing we've done is we've built very good factory connectivity into Viskam So we can take signals from PLCs or from switches or buttons, things like that. And we can give people then a searchable dashboard where they can go back and say, okay, batch 1, 2, 3, 4 on this day, and they'll get indexed videos of different sequences that happened within the manufacturing process. And that's really important for finding out, when did something start going wrong? Gives full batch traceability. Super important in medical device, of course, but also important in food and beverage and electronics.
Yeah, it's wonderful because it's given that kind of one source of truth. When you think about customer collaboration, I'm guessing this was really, really important to have that close collaboration with your customers when you're actually implementing Viskam. Is there any maybe success stories or collaboration that maybe have significantly impacted the development process?
Absolutely. I mean, the lean startup all the way. I mean, you're doing product development. You want to be asking your customers constantly, does this work? Are you going to use this? Because even though you might make a great model and might work well, that doesn't mean it's going to be usable for the customer. So we're constantly kind of going to customers, showing them what works, getting their feedback, and finding out, getting their people on board with using the technology, because, people have to buy into that as well.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than you coming up with something incredible, or you think, and then it's a bit of a, doesn't really move our dial. Thanks.
Yeah,
Everybody's just so
it's very
disappointed.
easy to fall into that trap. It's very, very easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah.
And look, you still have to make some decisions that aren't going to be perfect for everyone, right? And you have to try and judge which ones are going to have the most impact for the greatest number of customers, et cetera, et cetera. So there's still a bit of guesswork involved, but informal guesswork.
Tell us a little bit about the long-term vision. Your applications are looking to push the boundaries of AI beyond traditional sectors. Is there any kind of industries or kind of challenges you want to now tackle that you think, because AI is at a certain point now, that allows you to do that and kind of fit into maybe a new kind of broader vision?
Yeah, I think ultimately what we will see over the next number of years is a move away from having to code a lot of these systems, where it has this kind of more general intelligence, of looking at scenes and being able to detect different scenarios, particularly across video. So really for us, that's probably a target area that we're going to exploit, I think.
Thank you very much. You've been listening to the AI Ireland podcast, and my name is Mark Kelly. And today I've been chatting with David Moore. David is managing director and co-founder of Viska Systems, and they are finalists for this year's AI Awards Best Application of AI in SME, which is on the 26th of November. If you're interested to see how the finalists get on, please feel free to join us on the day. It's in the Marker Hotel at 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. for an in-person event. David, really, really nice spending some time for you today, and best of luck with the future. Best luck with the applications coming up.
Super. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
On the 26th of November, join us for the 6th Annual AI Awards at the Marker Hotel in Dublin. This year's event promises to be our largest and most impressive yet, with over 300 community members in attendance and over 48 applications of AI in action. This truly is an incredible world-class event, and we are inviting you to this event. Experience the excitement live, because we're going to be capturing this with a world-class film crew, and it's going to be streamed online. However, if you want to join us in person, book your table now, because opportunities are limited. If you're interested in sponsoring this year's awards, please contact me at Mark@AI Awards for more information and see the best in class of AI applications on the island of Ireland.